This is Archie, Aidan, and Brittany Shaw. We're going to be talking about language development for the fundamentals of language development and early childhood, ECE 411, Module 7. They have to be in the video.
Because we want to be in the video.
Hi. Hi. Good boy. The last time I did a video like this, he took his first steps. So. Alright, we're going to talk about auditory development first. If I can read my handwriting. As we all know, auditory means hearing. For adults, the amount of energy defining the auditory absolute threshold varies with the frequency of the sound. It's okay. The least energy is required around 1,000 hertz, and more energy is required at both lower and higher frequencies. An infant's threshold for noise varies substantially with frequency. Young children also clearly discriminate among sounds of different frequencies. 5 to 8 month old babies can tell apart tones differing by only 2% frequency in the 1,000 to 3,000 hertz range, when adults only discriminate about 1%. It's okay. William James in 1890 described the world of a newborn as blooming, buzzing confusion. However, we understand now that at the auditory level, a newborn's world is outstandingly well structured. The cochlear and auditory nerve provide extensive preprocessing of signals for frequency and intensity. By the time the signal reaches the auditory cortex, it has already been processed. Also, babies demonstrate a preference for the language that resembles the speech of their mothers. In an example, a Spanish baby will prefer to listen to Spanish, whereas a Polish baby will prefer to listen to Polish. In addition, babies demonstrate a preference for their own mother's voice as opposed to that of other women. Is that Mama? Mama, yeah. Although infants are not yet learning words, they are acquiring the basic auditory and international patterns of their native language. Switch notes to books.
It's okay.
You're awesome.
What, you want to hold it?
You're awesome. I think that's what he said. Awesome.
You want to color now? Can you find a highlighter? He wanted to color on this. Oh, I got it.
Oh,
sorry.
Oh.
It's hectic in this house. Here, you want to color now? There you go. Okay. Color. At birth or shortly thereafter, the child is capable of 4 distinct types of cries. The birth cry, the pain cry, the hunger cry, and the pleasure cry. We have moved on to articulatory development, sorry. The birth cry only occurs at birth and involves the infant trying to clear out the fluid that has accumulated in the lungs and throat. The pain cry can be done by pricking the baby with a pin. The hunger cry is a reliable indicator of the infant's need to be fed, which he still does. The pleasure cry, which is a softer and not too frequent at first, seems to be the cry from which later language develops. Gentle. Articulatory development progresses through a fairly clear set of milestones, although with much individual variation. During the first 3 months, a baby's vocalization involves nothing more than just cries and vegetated adaptations, such as sucking, chewing, and coughing. However, just before 3 months, at the time of the first social smiles, babies begin to make the delightful little sounds that we all know as cooing. And we're moving on to first words, right?
What?
First words? First words? Are those words?
The words?
He said it earlier. Archie, words?
What?
He's busy.
Too busy being busy.
First words. The emergence of the first words is based on 3 earlier developments. The first is the infant's growing ability to record the sounds of words. The second is the development of an ability to control vocal productions, which occurs in late stages of babbling. The third is the general growth of the symbolic function as represented in play, imitation, and object manipulation. Even before producing the first conventional word, a 12-month-old has already acquired an ability to comprehend as many as 10 conventional forms. The infant learns these forms through frequent associations among actions, objects, and words. And the last subject is grammar development. I'm cutting it kind of long here. I'm sorry about that. After learning the first words, children begin to produce more and more single-word utterances. As their vocabulary grows, children begin saying words in close approximations, separated only by short pauses. When looking at children's first clumsy attempts to combine words, it is important to realize that they have already spent several months listening to words in combination during comprehension. Consider the case of the child's first use of the word want in combination with a noun like cup at 18 months. Before using the operator want for the first time, the child may well have heard it in combination dozens of times. Want the cup. During these exposures, the child comes to expect that certain words will follow directly after want. These combinations are called item-based patterns. That's okay. Because they specify the ways in which particular lexical items can be combined with other words. Hopefully you can hear me over his words. Yeah, words? Words. Good job.
Say first words.
You're good at words.
Hello?
Aidan, it's okay.
Archer.
Archer. Who's this? No, I'm not water.
No, he said color.
No, he said dawa. Water means dawa to him. Are you saying color? Color. This is Mama.
Mama.
And Aidan.
It's Aidan.
And Aidan. Alright, last part. During the period of the first words, children are able to listen to speech and occasionally pick out verbs, adjectives, adverbs, and prepositions that they are starting to learn. However, to make sense of these words, they must link them to item-based patterns. Thus, some of item-based patterns must be present in comprehension well before we see in production. Unfortunately, it's difficult to derive solid evidence regarding the exact shape of children's early abilities to comprehend syntactic patterns. As in the case of studies of early word comprehension, we have to assess children's early syntactic comprehension by controlled experience in the laboratory. Aidan, don't make him mad.
Hopefully this video will be entertaining, especially with Archer.
Yeah, y'all make the video, not me. To do this, researchers have often relied on the peripheral looking paragram. To the right of the child, there's a TV monitor with the movie of Big Bird tickling Cookie Monster. Cookie Monster? You say Cookie Monster? He doesn't want that right now. He used to say Cookie Monster. To the child's left, there's a TV monitor with the movie of Cookie Monster tickling Big Bird. The experimenter produces the sentences, Big Bird is tickling Cookie Monster. If the child looks at the matching TV monitor on the right, a toy makes a success noise and a correct look is scored. Using this technique, researchers have found that 17-month-olds already have a good idea about the correct word order for English sentences. This is about 3 months before they begin to use word order systematically in production. And that's it. On Module 7, you say bye-bye.
Say bye, Archer.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
That's it. That's all, folks.
I didn't know why I did that.
You're silly.